harvested all that stuff in my garden, and I kind of wanted to show y'all what all I got out of that harvest. So these are just the first of my tomatoes that I got. I haven't done anything with them, but these are my first of my tomatoes. These are just some cucumbers that I harvested, so I'm going to do some pickling with those cucumbers. These are my banana peppers, and show y'all how I make my pickled banana peppers. This is the first year I made them, but I've already made like two big quart jars full of them, and they are wonderful, and I love them. So I normally don't like stuff like that, but I really enjoy these, so I'm going to show you how I do that. And then this is my onions and my garlic. Now I pulled my onions and garlic a while back, except for those ones that I pulled yesterday, which ended up being my biggest onions. You know, some years I have huge onions, they're all like this, and then some years I have onions that are like this. I don't know. But you know, we had that snowmageddon, we had a lot of rain, and so I think that really affected the harvest. But I have a lot of onions here, and I've done a video before on how I chop up these onions, slice up these onions, and how I store them in the freezer, so I'll try to link that up above here. And so then I also had a pretty good harvest of garlic. You know, I have some garlic heads that are about this big, and then I have some, you know, really nice sized garlic heads. And believe it or not, these really nice sized garlic heads were the ones that I planted in front of my asparagus, and supposedly asparagus and garlic are not companion plants. They don't like to be planted near each other, but these are the ones that turned out the best. And so I'm fixing to go through these and pull apart all these garlic heads. I saved the biggest cloves. Those are the ones I plant for next year. And then I'll work on getting these other cloves, you know, chopped up and dehydrated, and I make my own garlic powder. I don't know if I have a video for that, but that's something else I do. But I'm also going to use some of these garlic in my banana peppers. So this is my big harvest of onions and garlic. Also harvested my purple whole peas. I'm going to can these up. This was my first picking of those, so I was real happy with those harvests. So I'm going to show y'all how I pickled my banana peppers, and I'm going to cut these up, slice these up, and de-seed them and all that. So let me get going on that, and I'll come back and we'll go over the rest of the recipe. So I've got all my peppers sliced up, and I've got them in some, these are just pint jars, and you can kind of shake them a little bit, and that'll kind of get them to settle down in the jars a little bit, and that way you can fit, you know, more in there. All right, so the next thing, we're going to do some peppercorns. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon, and this is just a fourth of a teaspoon, so we'll put 2 of those in there. This is some mustard seeds, and we're going to do a half a teaspoon of mustard seed. Teaspoon of celery seed, a half a teaspoon of salt. Now you could use canning salt, but this is kosher salt, so I'm going to use this kosher salt. And the reason why you want to use kosher salt or canning salt, it just keeps it from being cloudy. A clove of garlic for each container. So I've got a clove of garlic, and you just take your knife. Here, we'll see. Let's see a little bit. You just take your knife, flat side of your knife, put it on your garlic clove, and just push. And it will kind of break up the peeling, and it'll kind of smash the garlic clove, so you have a whole clove, but it's smashed so that it'll, you know, emit that flavor. But that's the easiest way to peel your garlic. One more garlic clove. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, I've got a big saucepan here. And we're going to measure out 2 cups of white vinegar. So 1 cup of sugar. Now, I'm going to heat this up on my stove, just warming it up just enough to melt the sugar into the water and the vinegar. And then we're going to bring it back over here and ladle it over our jars. Now, I don't know if this is going to be enough liquid to fill these jars up, but this is why this is a real simple ratio. So right now I have 2 cups vinegar, 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar. So if I needed just a little bit more to fill up a jar, I could do 1 cup vinegar, half a cup water, and half a cup sugar. So that's just a real nice ratio that you'll be able to use to know how much water to fill up these jars, okay? Alright, so like I say, I didn't heat this up to boiling or anything. I just heated it up just enough to melt the sugar. And we're going to ladle it into the jars. right, so I just, this is really strong. So I think I just need a little bit more fluid because these are mostly filled up. So I'm going to do a half a cup of vinegar, a fourth a cup of water. No, I'll take it back, a fourth a cup of sugar. So let me heat this up. I'll put a little bit more in this jar. There's like a half an inch headspace in each one of these jars. I'm going to wipe the rims. Put on a lid and a ring. Now these are going to be refrigerated pickled peppers. So you could reuse your lids that you might have saved and used previously, because we're not going to water bath or hot bath pressure can these. These are just going to go in the refrigerator, and in 2 weeks these will be ready for pickled peppers. Something else you could also do, because they're going to be refrigerated and just be refrigerated pickles, you could also save pickle jars, save other kinds of jars that you might want to recycle and repurpose and reuse with the lids that go to that. So this would be a great way to use those type of jars up so that you could save your canning jars and save your lids and rings if you wanted to use other types of jars. So this is a jar I did about a week ago, and they really need to sit for about another week in the refrigerator, but I've already tasted them and they are so crispy and so tasty. I could just eat these things hand over fist, and they are so good. And like, this is a reused mayonnaise jar that I've got, so you could do that to save your jars, is use other types of jars. So let me show y'all kind of what they look like up close. They're really pretty. So thanks for visiting with me, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe.